Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my May 2022 book haul part 1. So I have to have 2 because I bought a lot of books. My birthday again was a little over, well, almost 2 weeks ago now. When you see this, probably, maybe. Anyway, it was back on the 16th. And so I got to go to Powell's on my birthday with my dad. It's kind of a tradition. We go once a year to the downtown Powell's. I go to the Powell's that's close to me in Cedar Hills. But the big one is downtown, and that's the Experience. So we do it like once a year, and we usually save up our gift cards, and I had a lot of credit as well. So I didn't spend any money that wasn't a gift card or credit, which was awesome, but I still bought 12 books. So I'm going to show you this in my, I split this up to be my birthday haul. So those are the ones I bought on my birthday. And then I'm going to show 2 books that I got from a friend. So let's start with those. I got 2 books from Tia and All the Books. Her birthday is a week before mine, so I had sent her 2 books, and so she sent me 2 books, which was really sweet. So we've been reading a lot of Alona Andrews. We read all the Kate Daniels series last year. This year we're reading the Hidden Legacy series. But she got me Clean Sweep, which is the first book in the Innkeeper Chronicles by Alona Andrews. So I'm excited to try this series. It's one of those ones I kept looking at that I want to do. I believe it's like an inn where people with magical powers are from. I don't know if it's like aliens or something, but it's kind of this magical place, I think. And then, but it's in Texas, and she runs a quaint Victorian bread and breakfast in Texas. So I just think things go kind of weird. Anyway, this is one of their self-publishing series that they're continuing to write. So I think there's 4 books out, I think, now. But anyway, I want to start this series maybe after we finish the Hidden Legacies, but she got me that one. And she also got me a Natural History of Dragons, a memoir of Lady Trent by Marie Brennan. So, oh, that's so weird. Her name isn't on the front cover. That is so weird. It says Marie Brennan here, but it's not on the front cover. I just noticed that. Anyway, so this is a kind of an alternate history, kind of like Victorian times, following a naturalist who is studying dragons, and it's her memoirs and the first book is when she gets into that, like some of her growing up and her things that happened to her that I think she becomes Lady Trent in this one. I'm not positive. I can't remember how it goes. I did read this like from the library when it first came out, and then of course you had to wait for the next book, so I never got back to this one. This is one I only remember a few scenes, so I really want to reread this one, so I put it on my wish list in order to read it again and get into it, because I've seen people always rave about this series, and I've always wanted to come back to it. So this is the first book, and I'm really excited to read this. So thank you again to Tia. I really am going to enjoy both these books. They're both books that are ones I want to pick up. Okay, so then all the rest of the books are the ones I got at Powell's on that day. I think this is only one that I could consider kind of contemporary, which is kind of funny. Sorry, itchy nose. It's called The Feast by Margaret Kennedy. So this one was actually published in 1950. So this is a reprint because this came out last year, and I'd seen it last year on some people's channels. I don't even know if I ever saw anybody actually read it, but it just sounded interesting because it has to do with Cornwall, summer of 1947, a buried seaside hotel. So I think there's like a cliff collapsed or something, and people are lost, and then this kind of goes back to before it happened and the people who were there, I think. It just sounded very interesting, and when I found out, it wasn't until I got home that I realized that it had actually been published in 1950, so it's technically contemporary of that time. I didn't know that. I thought it was historical fiction about that time, so I'm not sure how I'm going to get along with this. I still am kind of interested too, so I got that. I got 2 non-fictions. The first one is actually the first book I picked up when I walked into Powell's, is A Bookshop in Berlin by Francois Frankel. So this is translated, I believe, from the French, but I'm not positive. It doesn't say exactly which language, but it's by Stephanie Smythe. And it's a woman from Poland who I think went to, a Jewish woman from Poland who goes and opens up Berlin's first French bookshop. So she's there from 1921 until things shatter, it says here, in November of 1938. So I think it's about her memoirs of that time. So I don't know a whole lot about this beyond that. It looks like it was published in 1945, but then it kind of disappeared for a while. Now it's come back. So I don't know. It sounded interesting. So I picked that up. I also picked up Gulag by Anne Applebaum. This is on the gulags in Russian history. And I wanted this book for a couple of years. And I picked this up. It was, I got a used copy. It wasn't until I got home that I saw how teeny the print is. This might be one I do on like read with audio. So we'll see. But I'm really interested. I want to. There's a lot of books about Russia that I have not gotten to that I've been wanting to do history-wise, even some fiction, but I wanted to, this is one of the ones on my list that I wanted to read. I do have read Famine, so I know a lot of people reading that this month, or have read it for some other people's book clubs and things. I just did not have the brain power to read really big nonfiction, but I'm hoping that at some point I will read both of that one and this one. And I want to try Anne Applebaum. I've heard good things about her writing, and this is definitely a book I've been wanting to get for a long time. The only historical fiction book I got, after I figured out the other one was not, is The Moors Account by, how did she say it? Lalami, I think? Something like that. Anyway, so I remember when this had come out, was it a couple years ago? And I know I was interested. Oh yeah, like 2014. So I thought I saw it a couple years ago and I've been looking for it, and I found a used copy. So that was pretty cool. So this one I think has to do with a man who is a slave, I think, and then goes to the Americas and an expedition to Florida. So and he's traveling with his Spanish companions, I think. I'm not sure how the relationship is or anything. it's one of those books that had been on my radar that I've been wanting to read for a long time, and I finally found a copy, so I want to try that. And then I have one translated work, which is kind of dystopian-ish, which is Quality Land by Mark I don't know how you say that, Kling. So this one was translated, let's see, this one by Jamie Lee Searle. So, oh, and I think this Korean. Oh, now I don't remember German. This is from the German. Okay, I could not remember which one this one. So, this is kind of dystopian, where there's, I think, some kind of, in this town called Quality City, this guy is working, but he, there's some kind of thing that like tells you who you're supposed to marry or what you're supposed to do, and he kind of bucks against the system. And I think it kind of goes from there when people don't do what, you know, the government or whatever has set up to do. I'm not sure. So I think it has to do with a big company. And because I remember there was, someone talked about that it was kind of like seeing if Amazon was taking over the world or something. I don't remember. Anyway, I know I saw a couple of people read this. I can't recall now what they thought, but I thought it's been on my wish list, and I found it. It is a hardback, but I don't know if it ever came out in paperback because I've never seen it. So I just bought it because it was fairly cheap. And then the last ones I got are all fantasies. I did pick up a couple more books in the Black Jewels series by Anne Bishop. So I had a bind up of the first 3 books, and I cannot read bind ups anymore. I tried to read a bind up of another series, and my hands hurt, my wrists and hands hurt so much. And I don't have any issues with my hands, except I do need them to type a lot at work. So I decided to get rid of all my bind ups that were really big ones. And Black Jewels was one of them, where I've read one of the books, but I had not continued that series. And I think the book series is now 9 books long or something. Anyway, I did read the first book and in that series, but I want to go back and reread it and then continue on. But I did find the the second and third books in the series. So in that bind up. So I just have to get the first book. And again, these are all used. And then this one, I don't remember how far into the series this one is. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So this is number 7. Because I have, I think, 4 and 5 already on it. So I'm just missing 6 and then whatever comes after this. So I'm just collecting these. Anne Bishop is a fantasy, a fantasy author that I really enjoyed her urban fantasy. The Others is one of my favorite series of all time. Black Jewels, I liked the first book, but it's so dark. So you have to be in the right mood for it. It's super dark. But I want to get into it a little bit more because so many people talk about it. I'm reading it back when I didn't even know it existed. I think I've seen, I'd seen them, but I never got to them. But anyway, so I picked up 3 more for that. And 2 of them I'm hoping to read fairly soon to read through that bind up, but we'll see what happens. I did buy one book that I probably shouldn't have, but this is the second book in the Green Bone Saga, Jade War by Fonda Lee. I have not read Jade City. I've read like the first chapter to kind of test it, and I definitely want to read Jade City. I just haven't been in a mood to read it yet. But this was in their, like they must have bought too many copies or something, and so it was on sale that day, or it was on their sale thing where it was a reman, but it was fairly new. So I bought it. I don't, this is like gangster fantasy with Jade being the something that everybody is trying to get, and I think they're, as I said, it's kind of mafia-ish. I don't know. I really want to read it, and I've heard so many good things about it, but I bought the second book, and I'm trying not to do this to myself where I buy another book in the series, but it was such a good sale. I actually didn't buy, I walked away from it and went around and looked a little bit more, and then I came back and I still got it. So that was kind of the only book I'm like, maybe that was not my best decision, but I have it now. Hopefully I'll read Jade City here pretty soon. And then this is one I kind of picked up on a whim. I think it's the only one that was kind of a whim buy. Everything else was kind of on my list. This one's A Conspiracy of Truths by Alexandria Rowland. So I'd only briefly seen this like once before, and the reason I picked it up is because it had to do with a guy who is a wandering storyteller and is arrested for witchcraft. And then I think it's one of those things where he tells a story while he's imprisoned, and then we get more of what's going on in the political realm of this country. I don't know. I picked it up on a whim. Has anybody read this? Is this good? I don't know. That was a whim buy. And then I bought The Wolf of Oren Yarrow by K.S. Villoso. So I've been wanting to read this for a couple of years now, and the whole series is out now, the whole trilogy. So it's the Chronicles of the Bitch Queen. So I like this because it has a protagonist she's in power, and it's a couple of years after she has become queen, and she has a child, but when she came to be queen, I think she banished her king and killed someone on the same day or something like that. That's the legend, but there's so much more to that. So it's really about her keeping power at this time period and the things that go wrong from what I understand. Anyway, I know a lot of people like this, and I've been wanting to get to it, so I finally got a copy. I had it on ebook. As I said, I'm having trouble picking up fantasy books on my Kindle. It's just not calling to me. I'd rather have a physical, so I just bought it because it was a used copy. And then the only book I bought new with my credit or gift cards was 7 Deaths of an Empire by G.R. Matthews. So this one is, I think, I'm not quite sure if it's the Emperor who died. Yeah, it must be the Emperor dies, and they have to transport him, and it's whoever has the body, rules or something. And so I think there's a couple of groups, one who's carrying the body, and then one who's general, who's trying to keep things, keep the country stable after the death. I'm not sure. I remember when this came out, and I was really interested in it, and then I hadn't gotten it yet. So now I do. I have it. I don't even know if it's a standalone or it's a series. This one I'm not sure on. Most of the stuff I read, is series. So I don't know. I'll have to look more into it. But this is the only one I bought that was full price. So those are all the books I got. I can't lift this up. I don't know how people do those stacks. I would just drop everything. So I think I made out pretty well for my birthday. I'm really excited for all these books, of course. Thanks again to Tia for the couple books that I got from her. I am just, as I said, I bought way too many books, but at least on the books that I bought, there was all credit or gift cards, and I still have some credit left. So if I get desperate and need more books, I don't need any more books. Anyway, I will be having another book haul with all the stuff I bought during May, because May is usually my highest buy month because it's my birthday, so I pretty much just let myself buy what I want. So that's kind of happened, even though I told myself not to do it. We all knew I was going to fail on that, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. But you'll see that in a little bit. So I hope you guys, if there's anything in here that you think I should read sooner rather than later, let me know. I said I have so many books and so little time, so let me know. And if you've bought anything good recently, let me know, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.